Welcome back to the S&T podcast. Today we're talking about the SEC championship with the same old faces, same old brands. Number 3 Georgia, number 9 Alabama. Could have been, should have been, would have been, could have been, whatever they say. Uh, you know, a lot of different teams from the SEC, maybe Ole Miss, maybe Texas A&M, but here we are again, Georgia, Alabama. Same old. Going to be a good old fashioned showdown. But without further ado, I will send it over to my boy Cezanne and let him talk his piece.
Ah, yes, the good old SEC. Well, if you look at who's playing this weekend, your eyes will not be surprised to see the same two teams that we usually see in this game year after year. Of course, Georgia has been in this game for like 5 years straight now. I mean, Alabama missed out last year, but they always seem to be lurking around. So, not surprised to see this matchup again. We see these two teams play every single year at least once, if not twice. Just like this year, we're going to see this for the second time, the rematch. Obviously, earlier in the season, Alabama went into Athens and beat Georgia. Uh, at this point, I mean, we understand that Alabama basically owns Georgia. So I don't know what the streak is, but in the last 10 games that these two teams have played, I would bet that Alabama has won at least 7 of them. Like they just own Georgia. It doesn't matter if it's at Alabama, at Georgia, SEC championship, playoff. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't know what it is. It's not Nick Saban. We found that out because Nick Saban retired 2 years ago. And
You want to know? You want to know what the last 10 game record is?
let's see. Let's hear. Let's hear.
In the last 10 games, according to Google's Gemini AI, Alabama has dominated Georgia with a 9-1 record.
Wow. I said at least 7. Wow, I was being generous.
Wow.
Oh my goodness, 9-1, and then it's like we know the kind of team Georgia is. This isn't Kentucky. Like, how are you a team that's dominating everybody else in college football, but yet when it comes to one specific team, you just can't seem to get it done? I don't know what it is. It's not Nick Saban. It's not anything Alabama's doing. They lost to Oklahoma 2 years in a row. Oklahoma has the recipe to beat Alabama, but Georgia doesn't. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't get that. So, very interesting to see that. Here are the stakes for this game this year. Georgia, number 3 in the country right now after getting a bump up with A&M losing last week. Georgia wants to hold on to the bye. Right now, they have a bye, just like they did last year. Of course, last year it didn't mean anything because they still lost. But Georgia has a bye this year if they win. If they lose, Georgia's probably going to fall out of that top 4. Now, Oregon is at 5, Ole Miss is at 6, A&M's at 7, all with one loss. So it's very possible that with Georgia losing a second game, that they could drop below those teams. Now, we're going to talk about how the whole we're not supposed to punish teams for losing thing. That's going to come up so many times from now until Sunday. But just going off what we know and what we're seeing, if Georgia loses, it is possible that they will drop below the top 4. So then they'll have to play in the first round. They'll get a home game, but they'll have to play in that first round. On the other side, and Georgia's going to make it in no matter what. So that's the point. On the other side, Alabama. I know we're not supposed to punish the teams for losing. Is it at all possible that Alabama could drop out of the top 10 and basically out of the playoff at that point for losing this game? This would be their third loss. A&M, Ole Miss only have 2, and they just didn't make the championship game because of tiebreakers. Alabama lost 2 games during the regular season. Now, even though they're playing in this game, they only got in because of tiebreakers. It's not like they were just the second best team in the conference. Alabama got in over them, even though they had one more loss than A&M and Ole Miss, but they got in over tiebreakers. So I think that if A&M and Ole Miss were in the same situation that Bama is in right now, they would be fine because they only have one loss. but Alabama has 2. So, and we can't forget about that Florida State loss. I know it was week 1 and all, but that's still part of your complete resume. Let's say Alabama gets blown out by Georgia, even though I don't believe that's going to happen. Like, that's a 1% chance of happening. But let's say that does happen. Does the committee bump Alabama down a few spots, and that means they're out of the playoff? They're already at 9, so they're already on the brink. Now, they got a bump up last week with the committee moving them above Notre Dame, so that was pretty good for Alabama, but they're still right there on the edge. If they get blown out, could someone argue that now Miami needs to get in over them, now BYU needs to get over them, now Vandy, Texas? I don't know. And it's just the SEC bias is gonna definitely come up in this conversation as well, because there are gonna be so many pissed off people from the SEC that's like, oh, how could you drop Alabama out when they earned their way to the title game? And it's like, but they already had 2 losses coming in though, and they only made it because of tiebreakers. It's not like they were just the second best team. They only got in because of tiebreakers. They could have easily been the 4th best team in the SEC this year. So that's my whole point. Like, how come Vandy can't get in with 2 losses, but if Alabama loses a 3rd game, that they would still get in? That's not. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair. Just because you somehow got lucky enough to play this weekend doesn't necessarily mean you're better than Ole Miss, A&M, or Vandy. I mean, I know they beat Vandy, but I'm just trying to make my point here. So I don't know. I don't think the committee is going to drop Bama out even if they lose, but I think it is a very interesting wild card come this selection Sunday, because if it is at all possible Alabama could fall out, that leaves open another spot. That's another spot that opens up for another team that we're going to be talking about later on. So I'll leave it there, because I know you probably have some things to come up to say about that, but I'll leave it there, and then I want to see what you got.
Boy, so it's really like, as the playoff committee, what do you do? Because if you say that there's no weight in a conference championship game, then why are we even having conference championship games? Like, that's like the number one. Like, what's the point? Like, if the conference championships don't affect anything, why are we having them? Just do it like they do in the NFL with their divisions. It's like, okay, well, you finished head to head, tiebreakers, this, that, the other. Or, and sometimes, like, I guess, like this year, like Ohio State and Indiana would have had to share it. Like, okay, cool. I don't know where this goes, because the committee has really got their nards in a twist on this one, because you have number 6 Ole Miss, number 7 Texas A&M, right? And Alabama's at number 9. But Alabama's at number 9 playing number 3 Georgia in the SEC championship. So well, and then you have Oklahoma at number 8 too. So you have 3 other SEC teams ahead of Alabama. It's like, does Alabama get punished because they made it? Like, Alabama gets punished because they got lucky enough that Texas beat Texas A&M. Like, like, it was completely out of Alabama's control. Like, obviously Alabama wants to beat Auburn, but they make the SEC championship only because the only way they were able to make the SEC championship is because Texas beat Texas A&M. And so now Texas A&M is out and Alabama's in. Even though Texas A&M is 11-1 and Alabama's 10-2. Like, and then like I said, Ole Miss 11-1, Oklahoma 10-2. Like, it's an SEC is just craziness. So all I want to see is, if you punish Alabama for losing the conference championship, you should also punish BYU if they lose. So if Alabama loses the conference championship and BYU also loses their conference championship, they should both be out. Like, if you're gonna do one, you got to do both. I don't want to see any sort of bias or anything like that. and then have Alabama play BYU in a bowl game, and let's see what happens, you know. But yeah. But as far as the SEC championship goes, Alabama, Georgia, I mean, it's gonna be very interesting because if Alabama beats Georgia again, then it's like Alabama's automatically in, and Georgia probably has to drop out of the top four because then you have 11-2 Georgia and 11-2 Bama. So there's just so many different things that will happen, and but then you also have two 11-1 SEC teams, Ole Miss and Texas A&M, so they both make it too. So seeding, it's like a headache to even try and think about right now. And then especially like you're looking at like the BYU's, like what if it like what if Alabama and BYU both win? Like what happens? Does Notre Dame get kicked out? Because you can't kick out Texas Tech.
Yeah,
Texas Tech is number 4.
Notre Dame is out in that situation, so Notre Dame is not safe.
Yeah, because Texas Tech I think they put Texas Tech at number 4 on purpose, and they put BYU at number 11 on purpose, which to me is insane. Like I said, this conversation, we could go down a rabbit hole for 2 hours. But as far
Yeah,
as the SEC championship goes, I think Alabama, I think Alabama gets Georgia, and chaos just ensues because I don't know what happens after. If Alabama beats Georgia, I genuinely don't know what happens because that's 5 SEC teams, but 5 SEC teams that deserve to be there. Man, it just you go down this rabbit hole when at the end of the year, and I think this is probably the craziest playoffs we've ever seen.
no
What
lies,
do you think?
no lies told there, Tom. I just want to say one more thing before we wrap this video up. I'm glad you made the BYU correlation because that is a whole argument in itself right there about how you have to keep the same energy that you keep with Alabama losing the title game than you with BYU losing their title game. You have to keep that same energy. So that argument that
Yeah,
have to come up. But here's my last point right here. How in the world? Okay. We got rid of divisions in conferences a couple years ago in order to avoid situations like this. How in the world in multiple conferences this season and for in the SEC, as we talked about, Alabama's playing in their conference title game. They're not even the top 3 team in their conference. Like A&M's 11-1, Ole Miss is 11-1, Georgia's 11-1, Oklahoma's 10-2, but they beat Bama. All those teams should be above Bama in the standings, but somehow Bama finds their way in the title game. I just don't get it. Like there's something still wrong with the system. It's more than just the playoff. It's also the conference standing because they need to fix these tiebreakers. There's no way that Duke is playing in the ACC title game and not Miami. There's no way that Alabama's playing in the conference title game and not A&M or not Ole Miss or not Oklahoma, who beat Bama and has the same record as Bama. So like I can't. I don't want the committee to go into this Sunday and being like Alabama's in no matter what because that's not fair. That's not fair. That you would basically be saying Duke should be in no matter what. If they and absolutely not. And it's like I don't know, but like I don't, Bama
yeah,
if they go in and pursue that theory because I don't see how you let Bama in over teams that not only finish with less losses than them, but also uh either beat them or like one or like it's just so much. It's just so much, Tom. I'll end it there. I'm done there.
no, it's overwhelming to think about.